Hi, I'm Dawn, and this is where Shabby meets Bling. Spring is coming. I know because my hyacinths are coming up outside, so I'm so excited. Today, I'm going to be using thrifted items in my projects. These projects then will get used in my spring decor. You are watching The Last Thing Thrifted, the spring edition. Joining me tonight are Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse, Annie from Crafting with Indiana Jones, Shelley from Repurposed My Way, Monica from Up All Night DIY, and Cheryl from Farmhouse Frugally. You will find the links to their fabulous channels as well as this exclusive playlist in the description box below. Here we are at one of my favorite Goodwills. I'm at a town that's about an hour from me, but I love this one. This is like my favorite. Here we go. Yellow tag here, so let's see what we can find. I'm going to show you a few of the things I found today, not only at Goodwill, but at my favorite place, a town over from me, rather close by. I found this was a yellow tag at Goodwill, a cute little bamboo box. I found these stamps. These are the kind that you press into dough, cookies, whatnot, and they're all in perfect shape. I paid almost nothing for these little guys. I got this vintage little cracker holder, a bunt pan, which I'm going to be using with something fun soon. That lamp, that old lamp, love that. This will get used in the project that I'm working on today, as will this little pan that I picked up at the Goodwill. This Longaberger basket and this little basket, this ladle. This is going to get used today too. And this glass bowl. But it's not a bowl, is it? It's one of these. She's missing her stand, but I don't care because I have plans for this little beauty if it fits this. Quite a few years ago, I picked up this little gem. It is Southern Living. Oh, and this thing is heavy as heck, you guys. And she's a beaut. And she's made to have a cake dome or a cheese dome, whatever the case may be, on top. And that was not available. This was thrifted. But now comes the magic moment. We're going to be like Cinderella in the glass slipper and see if our little bowl fits. Drum roll, please. Woohoo! I've been looking for a fit for this guy for a long time. Now we can begin. Roll up your sleeves. First things first, we need to give this little board some sanding. So we need to sand the whole thing because we know what's coming next. Yes, after a thorough sanding, we are going to paint. I am using a white chalk paint to paint this little guy, and it'll take a couple coats, but no big. We're going to give it some chalk paint. I am not painting the bottom. I'm letting the bottom remain as is. I did not sand the bottom, and I will not paint the bottom, but I am getting in that little groove, and I'm going to paint the sides and the top of it, that chalk paint, that white, that beautiful white chalk paint. Here comes coat number 2. And once we're done with this, we can move on to some details. I picked up these 2 little beauties at Hobby Lobby. It was half off of their drawer pulls and their little hooks and all that fun stuff and little wrought iron feet and that kind of thing. So I picked up both of these. For my dome, I'm going to use the back plate of this one, and I'm going to use the flower. I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to marry them together. But do not worry, that other knob will get used, and it's going to get used today. So never fear, you know I don't throw anything away. So in all, each one was $2.50 each. So very worthwhile. I love them both, love wrought iron, and we need to glue this little guy together. I am using my B7000 on the back plate, and I put a good amount on there. Once I get the amount of glue on that I want, I am going to center it and I'm going to balance it. And then once I get it exactly the way I want it, I am going to clamp it. Once clamped, I'm going to set it aside and let it dry overnight. Back to our base, I'm going to be using these little push pins. They're kind of like that royal blue velvet, and the back of them is a copper color. I picked them up at the Dollar Tree in the office supply aisle. I've used them before, and I will use them again if I can find them, because I think they're beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I am going to drill little holes all the way around my base, all the way around. And we're gonna start off with one just to see what it looks like, because you can always change your mind. I'm not gonna, but you can. So I'm giving a little bit of a drill, a little hole, and let's give it a test. And that's what it's gonna look like. And I'm gonna do it all the way around. I am establishing a line to cut my board in half. And then I am just winging it and eyeballing it and cutting those halves in half, and so on and so on and so on. Once I have all my holes drilled, I am going to come back and I'm going to touch up with my white paint before I put my little push pins into action. The side of our board is curved, so for this to fit in smoothly, I am just taking my pliers and I'm giving the little tack part of it just a little bend so that when it goes in, it will lay flat. Now, with inexpensive items, sometimes there's flaws. And with these little push pins, even though I think they're beautiful and I'd buy them again over and over, there are flaws. Some of them are not on the little tack part smack dab in the middle. So my cure for that is to take off the little velvet part, and once all of that copper colored tacky parts are in my board, I'm going to go back and glue on all of the little velvet push pin parts, the little heads, exactly in the middle where they should be. And to glue them back into place, I'm using a 3-in-1 glue, which I had never heard of until I saw my good friend Monica. Monica used it from Up All Night DIY. She tends to use this stuff a lot. I thought I'm gonna give it a whirl, and I liked it. Like this stuff. Give it a whirl if you get an opportunity. But I'm just using it to, as you can see, place them back on to that little copper head and center them. Center them real nice. And back to the little handle that we created for our now gonna be cloche. So excited. I love a good cloche. I love a good cake dome, a cheese dome, you name it. If it's glass and it's shaped like a dome, I'm all about it. I am giving this, the whole thing, some white chalk paint. I am leaving some of the little bronzy color shining through, because I like it. I think it looks cool. Looks a little shabby with my chic. So we'll get this painted, and then we will get it glued on to the bottom of the glass candle bowl. And then once it's glued on the bottom, it will no longer be the bottom. It will be the top of our cloche. I will be using B7000 to glue it in place. Thrift flip number 2. This messed up chickadee piece of wood is over 120 years old. This actually came off the exterior of our house when we resided. And this is going to be the base of this next project. This plank has taken a trip through the table saw, and now I am drawing a vague sketch of where I want to cut it again. So back to the table saw. So you can see it has almost like a picket fence appearance, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to gently curve all the edges so that it kind of mimics the shape of that fleur-de-lis that we thrifted earlier. So I kind of have an idea now where I want to to curve my edges. And instead of using my jigsaw, I'm gonna simply sand. And sometimes the easiest way is the simplest way, and sometimes it's also the fastest way. And this was super quick. Once I had my curves the way I wanted them, then I proceeded to give the entire thing just a light sanding. I want the imperfections to show, but there was a lot of loose paint and I didn't want it all gone. I am just sanding very lightly both sides of this little plank of wood. And now it's time to paint. Let's paint. I am painting this, the first coat anyway, with an antique white paint. And since it is a larger piece, I didn't want to use up all my white chalk paint on it. So I have deferred to my good old house paint. Here's that fleur-de-lis that I picked up at Goodwill. And I am going to disassemble because I don't need the little basket because I'm going to be using some other things instead of this little basket. And so I am just going to give it a kind of a twist and hopefully and a bat a smack. And she came undone. Yeah, she knew what was good for her. Yeah, so now I just have this fabulous fleur-de-lis. Remember the drawer pull that we disassembled earlier? There that is. And this was a fabulous little bracket that I picked up on clearance for $1.49. So pretty. This was another thrifted item that I picked up a couple days ago. And this was only $1. And it is metal. And she is heavy and she is pretty. And now we're going to proceed to paint these little guys. And I'm going to use, for the first coat, that white, antique white house paint. Don't want to waste. I can't stress enough, I don't like to waste stuff. So, yes, antique white house paint. My first coat of that antique white house paint has dried, and now I'm coming back in with I don't want to say a wash, but this is not straight from the container. This is a white chalk paint and it is diluted down just a hair, just a little bit with some water. So the second coat will be this white chalk paint because it's going to match the thing we made earlier. I like to coordinate. Here's that little pan that I picked up. You can see I've got a little Sharpie mark there on this pan and my ladles as well because they are going to get cut off. They're going to get chopped. I will be using my Dremel tool to make those cuts. Voila! No more handle. Thank you, Dremel. Now I am going to take this little number and create a little well. I'm going to create a hole that I'm going to gently push. It's not going to be so gentle, but I am going to hammer the remaining part of the handle into my wood plank, and so it holds it stable. Plus, I will be putting that cute little bracket underneath it too. I am making sure I have it centered, and then I'm using the cut part of my handle as a little template so I have a guideline on where I need to drill this hole. I am using a series of drill holes to make my little cavity, and I'm using the handle to kind of check it out to make sure my hole is the appropriate size and shape. Now we need to address my little pan and my two ladles. And sometimes where they put these stickers on these things, it just like makes you crazy because they are so hard to get off. So a little Goo Gone and a little bit of scraping, and we are ready to go to the next step. I am going to decorate my ladles and my little pan. If you didn't know it before, you know it now. I love metal ribbon, and I'm going to use 3 different metal ribbons to decorate each one of these little items. The biggest one is getting the metal ribbon that I picked up a long time ago at Hobby Lobby, and I think they still carry it. I'm pretty sure they do. If you can't find it in the store, you can probably find it online. But I love this stuff, and I am going to cut it so it wraps around, avoiding my little handle, and then I am going to glue it and clamp it. Once all 3 items are treated with my metal ribbon, I will spray paint. Both items are complete. Let's take a look. From an old piece of wood and some kitchen utensils to a beautiful wall display piece. I used my dimensional paint to add a little more detail and dimension on that fleur-de-lis. And I even kept the ends of the ladles and put them on there as hooks. I have it displayed here for use in a bathroom. You have a cute little washcloth ducky, and you have some soaps and a beautiful arrangement. But you could just as easily put this at a front door and hang your keys there and your pocket change, whatever makes you happy. But I just love the way it came out. Rustic, yet elegant, and that drawer pull at the bottom acts as another hook. So in a bathroom, you could hang a robe. At the front door, you could hang a purse or a coat. Very versatile. At this point, it's pretty hard to tell that was a little saucepan and a couple of ladles. That metal ribbon, makes it absolutely spectacular. And the rust finish that I used, it's one of the methods that I use all the time. I will add the link in the description box to teach you how to do it if you haven't seen it already. From bathroom to entry to kitchen, you can put this little gem anywhere. Now let's take a look at how my Southern Living piece and the glass candle holder turned out. I absolutely adore those royal blue little thumbtacks. So pretty. And it was worth it taking them off and centering them because they're so darn pretty. And there's the candle bowl. Not a candle bowl anymore. And check out how well those 2 pieces married together. A little bit of B7000, and it is on there for good. For good. I forgot to mention, this little glass candle bowl only cost me 50 cents because they really weren't sure what to do with it since it didn't have a stand anymore. So happy. I am gonna use this for so many different things. Right here, I have plates displayed, but you can put anything under there. Flowers, candy, food. I mean, let's face it, if you put a little piece of wax paper, you can put anything under there you want. Very, very pretty. Very French country, very shabby chic, very me. And just in time for Easter entertaining. Once again, I'd like to thank Erin, Annie, Shelley, Monica, and Cheryl for joining me in this edition of The Last Thing Thrifted. You're going to find the links to their channels and this spectacular playlist in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, share it with your family and friends, and anyone that loves spring, shabby chic, or rustic decor. You can follow me on Instagram and check out my shop on Etsy. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and make sure you leave me a comment because I love hearing from you. Best way to support my channel is to subscribe, so don't forget to subscribe. But for now, this is Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.